Welcome back to another lesson with me, Mr. B. In this lesson, we're going to learn or review what to do with the bibliography and some common trends that occur when citing our sources. So we're going to be looking at a bibliography and some citations. So we're going to look at what is a bibliography and how is it formatted, then look at setting up some quotes and citations within the essay itself, so reviewing those formalities with formatting, and then look at some common trends that I usually give students in this essay writing process when citing a text, a resource, quotes, whatever it is for their example. A works cited or referenced list is only comprised of references to those items actually cited in the paper, whereas a bibliography is a list of all the sources that you have used. And in those citations of your bibliography, you should be including the author's name, the title of the publication, and the title of the article if it's a magazine or encyclopedia, the date of publication, place of publication, the publishing company of the text itself, the volume number of a magazine or printed encyclopedia, and its page numbers. Of course, there may be other things like edition numbers, volume numbers that you may need to include, and so that might look a little something like this. In some of the draft templates, I include this little bibliography kind of short guide and an example. We see that there's the author's name, so we can check that off this list. We have the title of the publication, in this case, an anthology or an encyclopedia. We have that right here. We have some sort of date, so if you don't have the exact date, you could put the year that it was published. Doesn't look like we have a place. We do have the publishing company, Norton. In this case, we don't have the volume number unlike some of our other examples, but there is a second edition number in here, and there's no page numbers referenced in this citation. So to be completely honest, I don't expect you to memorize all of that. There's way more efficient ways to go about this so you don't have to memorize this information using websites like Easybib.com. They make it very user-friendly despite some of the ads that might show up to use their free services. So when you click on Create Citations here, it already gives you an option to choose what type of source you're looking for. And you can look through other things if you're referencing different cartoons, films, dissertations, notes even, lectures, if you're referencing anything from our slides. But in this case, let's click Book. Now it gives you the option to search for a book. So I'm gonna try searching for something that I use in one of my classes. And look, it's right there. So we click on Cite, Continue, and just like our example, they give you the different boxes of information that you would need to include for the citation. So maybe we're citing a chapter or section of this book, which in most cases we are, and we'll put naturalism. In this case, we don't really know who's contributing unless you have my copy of the book. In this case, I don't really include the page numbers from the PDF copies that I give you all. So you can just click on Complete Citation with whatever information you have. And there you go. It generates the citation for you. And you can copy the citation or download it and export it to a document. And to make things even easier for you, if you go to the project handout, more often than not, there's a high chance that I'll cite it for you, and all you need to do is copy and paste which one you're referencing for your essay. Now, of course, if you're referencing other texts, articles, interviews outside of the sources that we're using from the unit, then yes, use Easybib to generate those citations so you can include them in your bibliography. Setting up quotes and citations. When you're setting up quotes, you're always going to start with a lead-in. This is kind of the transition that sets up any form of context that a reader might need, or just transition phrases from the topic sentence into the evidence that you're about to present. So when you set up your quotes, you want to start off with your lead-in. And this isn't my rule, but your lead-in needs to follow with a comma before the evidence, like so. Everybody see that comma right there? Make sure you have your comma and then you have your quotation marks around your evidence. As we've practiced with many writing assignments, you're going to follow your evidence with a citation. This goes immediately after the quotation marks in parentheses with the title italicized and then the page number following it. And most importantly, there is a punctuation mark at the end of the sentence. According to MLA formatting, you've got to have the punctuation at the end of your citation. Whether it's an exclamation point, a question mark, or a period, it has to go after the citation. Let's look at some quick examples. So this person here has their comma, their proper quotation marks, but they misplaced their punctuation after the citation. So they're pretty on the mark, but missed one tiny detail where they needed to move that punctuation after the citation. Here's another example. The student has their comma quotation mark after the lead-in. They ended their quotes. They have the parentheses around their citation. They even italicized the title. They have the page number, and they have the period at the end of their citation. So this is someone who's paying very close attention to the little details of setting up your quotes and citations properly. Common trends. This is feedback that I often give students as they're writing their essays. There are often redundant phrases and the use of sentence starters in every single sentence. something like "it shows that," or "the influence of naturalism is," or "naturalism was an international movement that inspired. This movement is relevant today because," "we must recognize the influence of modernism because," "an international and nationwide movement." And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these sentence starters, because I do provide them for you to get your writing jump started, but some of you use sentence starters in every single sentence. So when you start breaking away from the outline and you put your sentences together in a paragraph, you might see the repetition a little more clearly because you're not writing in these boxes anymore. So try to avoid redundant phrases or use of sentence starters in every sentence. A big one is improperly italicized or quoted titles of works. A good rule of thumb to remember is that the larger the work, it'll most likely be italicized. So this is going to be things like books, movies, websites, newspapers, magazines, or journals. But if you're referencing something like a song title or smaller works, it's going to be in quotation marks, especially if it's like a chapter that you're referencing, an article title, a poem, an essay, or sections and excerpts of something if you're not referencing an entire novel or textbook, essentially. The next thing is people are missing cited examples if they're referencing a passage from a book or a song lyric, and this ties to citations. I have already warned many people year after year about plagiarism, and it's easy to make that mistake if you ended up copying and pasting something from the internet because you thought it was useful, but you forgot to put it either in your own words or you forgot to format it properly where you cited it to let the reader know that that wasn't your work. This is some of the most common feedback that I've been giving in one-on-one essay conferences. So hopefully that's useful for you to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes and that you're a little more vigilant as you're writing and reviewing your work or a classmate's work as you move into peer reviewing.
I hope this mini lesson was helpful in setting up a bibliography or any evidence and quotes you're using, properly citing things, and recognizing some common trends that you might encounter in your own writing. Reference the slide deck or timestamps to review these steps. Good luck on writing the rest of your essay. Thanks for tuning in to another lesson with me, Mr. B, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.